listening to another show. Don't get this twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host, as always, Tina. How you doing, Tina?
Yeah, it's been a week, Rob. It's been a week.
It has been a week, and it's only Monday. If people who are listening, we're recording on the
since
Monday.
I talked to you last, it's been a week.
Yes, it has.
Went to a couple funerals, and one was for one of my friend's 19-year-old grandson, and he was allegedly killed by one of his best friends, ran over. And yeah,
wow.
It was definitely a murder situation. They still have not made an arrest or anything, but going to that funeral and seeing all those kids there just broke my heart. And we're Native Americans, so my dad does a lot of does a lot of spiritual things. Mm-hmm. And one thing that he'll do is he'll go and say a few words at a funeral and sing a couple of Native songs and try to send them off with a Native not experience. I don't know what you would call it. Just a little Native liftoff sort of thing. And so normally my dad will do it with my uncle, but he didn't ask my uncle, nor did I. And so I did it for the first time. I mean, I know the songs, I know the stories, I know how everything goes, but I don't do it. So that was the first day that I've ever done it. And it was an honor to do it for this kid. This kid just seemed to be very happy and very loving and left a great impression on this earth. And it's just a shame that he was taken so soon. But it was good to do that for my friend and for her family. And it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be.
19 years old.
19. Beautiful kid.
We were just talking about this before we even got on air about I was telling you about how I've been looking at the web page that comes up when you get online and how many younger, quote unquote, people are dying. Mm-hmm. I've read literally within the last 2 days, there was an actor who was 31 died. One that was 41 died. There was a ESPN, I want to say he was an announcer. I just read that this morning on Instagram. He was 53 and it didn't go, I didn't know completely what it was, but it said he died of depression, which means he probably took his own life. But he's 53 years old. These are younger people. Yeah. And not that I wanted to do a show today on death, but we are in a weird place where
I get the whole depression thing too, because lately I've been struggling. I do my best to stay positive. I think you could tell from what I say on the podcast, but it has been a struggle recently. Like I'm not speaking to one of my really good friends, and I didn't realize what an impact that would be. Not my choice, and not that anything, bad happened, but just, life goes on sort of shit. Mm-hmm. These funerals are kicking my ass. I really need my house to get finished being done. We are now at a year, it's June 2nd. We're at a year now doing this remodel, and it's not done yet. And, it's really, it's weighing on me. My dad's not happy. My cousin's trying to figure out what she could do to, just be okay here. And it's hard. It's not easy.
We're in a very odd place. Mm-hmm. I was telling you the same thing where I kind of stopped talking to one of my friends, and I see what you're saying, because we both were kind of saying the same thing where, like, I miss my friend, even though I have more feelings for her. I miss that part. I miss talking to my friend. Mm-hmm. And I know it's probably for the better that I don't, at least for my mental health. But yeah, it sucks. And it's hard to where, and look, we're older. Like I always go back to this. There's a scene in Tombstone. It's like one of my favorite scenes where Wyatt Earp goes out and he does this crazy shootout with this guy. And then one of the other cowboys asked Doc Holliday, he's like, why are you here, Doc? You're sick, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, well, Wyatt Earp's my friend. And the guy goes, well, I have a lot of friends. And he goes, I don't. Mm-hmm. And that says a lot for people our age. I have a very small group of friends that I can talk to. I do have a lot of acquaintances though, which, can help, but it's not the same, and this person, I mean, I talked to them for a good, I'll say 7, almost 8 years. There was a couple of years in between where we didn't speak, but it does make for that. And then my friend in North Carolina, I haven't talked to either. And I'm trying to find a way to send her a message and kind of just to touch base, because that also kind of, ended on a weird thing. And it sucks because we are in a weird place where we're like, what do we do? How do we fix it? And it sucks. I wish that I could have an answer for all these people that are going through depression, because, I just read the article on that guy and it just said, he lost his battle with depression. John lost his fight with this terrible illness. So I'm assuming he took his own life. It doesn't say that, but it says that. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm assuming. But yeah, he was 53 years old. He's our age. He was a TV producer. He was a Emmy-winning host. This is a guy who sounds like he had his shit together.
What was his name?
His name was John Breckus. He was just a ESPN producer. He came up with one called Sports Science, which I know what it is, but I don't think I've ever, watched it a ton of times. But I mean, he wrote a book. This is a guy who had his shit together. So wow. It's you look just at life. I mean, and look, I know that there's a lot to be said because we can go down the line of Hollywood people who've taken their own life. I mean, Robin Williams, and he was sick. I mean, and people didn't know that, but even so, it's like you start looking at the reality of where we're at in life. And, I was telling you that, midlife is 35 years old. It's not 53. If you're looking at the, statistically speaking, us men, we died around 71 or 72 generally. And I know with science that's changing, but I just think that we all need to find a way to get through. Like I was telling you, I just try to get through the day now. Mm-hmm. And that's difficult sometimes. And I try to mask that with, like I told you, I watch movies or read a book or work on editing pictures or whatever it is, just to kind of pass it, throw on some music that I like that'll get me out of a funk. Mm-hmm. And try to move on to the next day as a new start. And it's difficult because, look, we all have issues. You look at, money. Money is a bigger one. But like jobs, everyone's job's not good. Mostly these days, we're at a spot where, I might not have a job. Then what? It's rough. It's just we're in a tough spot. I look at, God, funerals. I haven't been to one in quite a while. Thank goodness. But, that's definitely a eye opener. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't imagine 19, I went to, God, his name was Philip. He went to school with us. I want to say maybe he was 20, maybe he had gotten a motorcycle accident. And I remember going to the funeral. It was at De La Salle over there on, what is that?
Chatsworth and Havenhurst.
Havenhurst. So, and I remember going there with my best friend, and we sat there, and you don't think of it. I mean, obviously, he was my friend's good friend. I knew him through everyone, but it is a wild thing. Then maybe he was 20. He might have been 19, and you look at something like that and just go, "Oh man!" Like we had someone lose their life that young.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, holy shit. So now, even with us, when people in our lives are dying at 50, I still feel the same way I did then. Like I don't feel really old. My body's old-ish. But the problem with as we get old, at least in the way I look at it, I went on a date with somebody and we were talking about just kind of like who we are. And I was like, I'm a 53-year-old man, but I have the brain of a 16-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's the hard part. I remember being, it was down by Balboa Park. Me and my dad went into it was a store, but it had a magazine rack. And I remember my dad, he must have been in his 40s, and he was looking at a Playboy, and there was a girl in the centerfold was like 20 years old, and I didn't get it. Like, that's like, that woman's half your age. Like, but in my dad's head at 40, he was still 20.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it makes sense. Like even now, it's like you look at younger girls and younger women. Like for me, a younger woman is 30.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I see a 30-year-old, I'm like, oh yeah, like they are attractive, because in my head I am 16 years old, and I'm like, yeah, she's pretty no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand that thing, but I think that's the bigger problem with being us human. Like in our head, I can still run fast.
Mm-hmm.
I can still, I can go out and play softball and get up the next day and be like, oh, I'm ready to go. And it's not. Like I was thinking one time to have one more wrestling match because I wanted to be able to say I wrestled in my 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. I thought that would be cool. And I'm not one to, if like the wrestling business is very weird. People say they retire and they always come back and they work fucking another 10 years. I haven't wrestled since I was 44. And I've been asked several times, not recently.
Are you going to do it?
I don't know. I don't think I could. At least not. I could probably do like a battle royal when there's a bunch of people. And because those are easy and it's hard to get hurt in them unless somebody really has it out for you. And then I just punch people in the face anyway. I don't care. But I don't think I could work a singles, like a real match. I could probably do a tag team match maybe, because then you can kind of protect yourself and kind of hide your inabilities.
Mm-hmm.
But then I just start thinking, fuck, I gotta get up the next day. Like, and it's like a 30-mile-an-hour car wreck every time you wrestle. It's not good for your body. And then I start thinking like that and go, fuck that. I'm not doing that shit again. And if I did do it, it would be for my own ego stroke. And do I really want to do it for that? Like,
what if you do like like you're managing somebody and you go in with them and slap them around a little bit or do something like that just to say you did it?
Yeah, I did manage somebody for a little while, many, many years ago because I took a break. I was kind of in that same thing. Like, maybe I should hang it up. Managing was fun. I will say that was fun. And it does sort of scratch the itch.
Mm-hmm.
So I could probably do that. And there are some local ones near me, so I could probably go down that route. But yeah, it's just an interesting thing in your head though, right? Because you think like, oh, I'm still bulletproof, and you're not. And I do feel certain things where you're like, oh man, my wrist doesn't feel good, or I slept wrong. That's a bigger thing for me. Have you slept wrong and then your neck didn't work for a day or two?
Oh yeah. Or my shoulder or my arm or my hand.
Right. So, and it's like, I look at my shoulder, which my shoulder and I have a torn bicep, and I've had a torn bicep for months. Thankfully where it tore, I can still use my right arm, but I do have a tear in my shoulder, and I'm trying to get it repaired. And I start to think like now, like I'm going to be in a sling with my right arm for at least a couple of months, and probably not be able to do what I usually do for 4 or 5 months. I'm wondering, how am I going to wipe my butt?
I don't blame you. That's always been a scary thing for me.
I've already started looking at things like for this show. Like I have a mouse that is made for right-handed. So I'm already looking on Amazon for like a standard old school flat mouse that I could use so I can still do things with my left hand. So wow. I'm a little perturbed, a little scared. Like, oh yeah, it's like starting over. I can't write. I won't be able to sign my name. I won't be able to do all kinds of crazy shit for at least a little bit. I heard at least 1 month I'll be in a sling that they said don't ever take it off for a month. Because my friend, wow. she had shoulder surgery, and that's what they told. She said the first month they say take it off to shower, and right when you get out of the shower, put it right back on. So
wow.
Yeah. So the only good part is I'll take a 4-month vacation from work.
There you go.
So at least maybe I'll get my mental health in check, where I can, like.
I don't know. I think sometimes work keeps me mentally healthy because I have something I have to go and get up and do. Mm-hmm. Like today, I didn't get up until, I think it was almost 1:00.
Oh, wow.
Now, I was out late last night. My cousin and I went to the drive-in movie to go see a movie, and the movie didn't start until 11:30, and it's like 50 minutes away. So we were out late, but.
Where is there a drive-in that you went to?
In Paramount. We go out to Paramount.
Paramount.
Yeah.
Okay. Paramount.
And so.
Keep speaking. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, go Paramount Drive-In Theaters. It's cool because they have a snack bar, and they have pretty good snacks, and it's not
Paramount
expensive.
Drive-In Theaters. Let's see.
It's only like $12 to get in.
So Paramount is down in Bellflower.
Paramount is in Paramount. It's the city Paramount.
Yes, I know, but it's the bigger cities are like Bellflower and Compton and Linwood, Downey. Mm-hmm. It's not horribly far from me either.
No.
We're about the same, actually. Actually, you're closer. I'm a little bit further.
It's so worth it, though. You only get to see one movie. They don't have 2 movies like they used to.
No double feature like the old days?
No double feature. Winnetka always did the double features, but this one does not. So, and then we went and saw Lilo and Stitch just to have something to do.
How was it?
I'm not a kid movie sort of person, but my cousin loved it.
Oh, that's good. See, that's one of, if I'm going to watch a Disney movie, that's one that I can sit through.
You'd like it.
Good. Matt, I know my boy wants to see it.
You should go to a drive-in. You can go sit out in front of your car.
Shit, he would know what to do.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why we should be taking everybody. I'm like,
I don't know if he's ever been. I'll have to ask him.
I would say no, because
I would say no too, but his mom, she's old. Yeah. So
she's old.
She's old. She's 5 years older than me. So she's pushing 60. So I'm sure I could see her going to a drive-in.
For sure.
So I wouldn't doubt it. I'm going to have to ask him when we get off here. He may have been. Ooh, look at that. I got a cut right there.
Ouch.
Yeah. I had a root canal today. Fun stuff.
Not fun.
Not horribly bad. But life's a crazy thing there, teenagers. I think, since we've known each other for so long, I start looking at the things around us, all our old friends, or, what should we call them? I want to say I want to say ex-lovers, but that's not what's old flames. That's what we were saying that one day.
Old flames.
When old flames come back into our life for whatever reason, um, I find it very interesting because you look at sometimes it's difficult not to look at them like it was the same. It's the same.
At the same age that we were when we dated them. Oh, yeah.
Even though we look totally different and we've all changed. And
does that really, though? I don't know. When I've been involved with an ex, I see them as how they were, not how they are.
Correct.
Which is probably like a really good way to fuck with your brain, but
yeah.
I don't know. I've had a couple that have come around and I still see them, and I can still see them on the day I met them. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I also think that that's your mind playing tricks on you. And I mean that and it doesn't even have to be an old flame from, 35 years ago. It can be someone you dated 5 years ago, and then you see them again. You want to see them in their best light. Mm-hmm. I think an old flame, though, we see them how they were because it was a very special time.
Yeah.
Generally those kind of old flames, at least the ones that I'm thinking of, it's not just a normal girlfriend. It's somebody who meant something that comes through your life for whatever reason again. But then you realize, like I told you before, like I was hanging out with somebody and she laughed and she snorted again, just like she did when she was 17 years old. And it was absolutely humorous. Like, talk about being like transported back. And I was just like, oh shit. Like, yeah, you are the same person. We've just grown up, but we're still the same people inside, which is kind of nice. It's a nice feeling to go, okay, yes, we've matured and we've grown up a little bit and we've done this and we've done that. And that's all Jim Dandy. But it is nice to just go, oh yeah, like we really are kind of the same people we were.
Of course. The root of a person is always going to be the root. You know what I mean? They're still going to be that same person. It doesn't matter like how old they are or what their status is or where they're at in their life. Like the core of who people are is always going to be the same. That's what makes it so much fun when I go and I see friends that we've grown up with, or I see, even the people that me and you've talked about, like our friends, people that we grew up with, I see them and I still see them as who they are then and who they are now. And it's a mix up, I just throw it all together and go, this person is like this because I've experienced that with them, but they're also like that because they had to grow up.
Right. And it's funny because the person that I'm talking about, we know, and they were always, I mean,
she was my friend for a reason.
Yeah.
She was fun and fired
and she's
crazy.
a handful.
Yeah.
And I was like,
of the best kind.
Yeah. And I was making kind of a joke about her. Like, I even told her that, like, I was like, yeah, I couldn't handle you. You're just out of control sometimes. And we kind of started talking about like life stuff. And she's in the medical field. And she makes a good living.
That's awesome.
Because when I first saw her, she was a medical technician. She's an RN now. And I didn't realize, because I have lots of friends who are in the medical industry, and I have other friends who are RNs, and I have friends that are medical assistants, and I mean, kind of all over the board, LVNs. I didn't realize what an RN made. I had no understanding of like, and look, and I knew that they were like, oh yeah, I make a decent living. And I was kind of thinking like, oh yeah, they make like 80,000 a year. That's like the lowest end, nobody RN.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these people are making well over 100K.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure.
And I didn't realize it. And so I was talking to her about that, and I was like, "You're smart," and you know her. And the first thing she said, she's like, "No, I'm not." I go, "Yeah, you are. You're an RN. You're pretty smart." And she's like, when it comes to some things, yes. And she goes, "But you know me." And she said, like, I forgot what it was. She gave me the example of that kind of made her dingy, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you are kind of dingy too." Like, it's funny, but that's
No, it's
all
the
of us.
common sense is a little bit askew there,
Yeah.
but she's brilliant to the mind. That's why I liked her from the get-go, because she was quick and she could keep up, and she was smart. I didn't realize growing up that I really like smart people. And I noticed that the company I keep, they're very, very intelligent. Now, common sense may be another story. That's, whatever. But
Book smart and street smart.
book smart, yeah, there's two different things. But I've
Totally.
always really liked people that were smart, that had a brilliant mind, that had something that I could, get fuel from, basically. Mm-hmm. And I do like smart people, but a lot of smart people aren't exactly, top executives or
No.
whatever, but they're still smart. They still have a brilliant mm-hmm. mind. And I like that. I like that a lot.
Shit,
she was definitely one of them.
There's smart people who don't use their mind to move forward. They're just smart.
My brother, I always call him the lazy genius. His mind is brilliant, but he has no ambition to do anything with it.
No drive.
No drive. It could be a part like feeling like he doesn't want to fail. I don't know.
But I think the same way about my kids sometimes, because like he'll say stuff and I'm like, you're pretty bright, dude. Mm-hmm. But he's lazy.
Yeah.
And it's for the first time in a while, he said something to me the other day. He has Invisalign. Mm-hmm. His mom works for a dentist. So we got Invisalign for insanely cheap.
Nice.
And if I said it, people would be upset. It's so cheap.
Yeah.
So cheap. So, but he was talking to the dental assistant. And it was a guy. And the guy goes, "Yeah, you should go get a $30,000 loan and become a dental assistant." He goes, "You'll work for the rest of your life." He goes, "No matter what, because they're always going to need them." And I was like, and so he said to me the other day, he goes, "I'm thinking, maybe I could do this." And I said, "Listen, that's awesome. And if you can get a loan, do it. But make sure it's what you want to do. Because you don't want to go to school for something and then not want to do it." Because I have a friend whose son went to be a pharmacist and has never used it.
Wow.
Like, man, and she works for a large medical company, large in the state of California. Probably could have helped him get into a position.
Really?
Yeah. And pharmacists in the very beginning don't make a lot. He would have made like $19 an hour, but he would have been in, and he would have been union, and yeah. And it sucks because he didn't do anything with it. So, but I keep telling my boy the same thing. Like, that's awesome. Go do it. If that's what you really want to do, but don't use it as a standby. Go get an education and go get into the field. And then if you want to learn other things during that, awesome. But I did tell him too that that's the only loan that you can't BK. But just so you know, so that those education loans, they're forever. So, but we'll see. I mean, I get it. I think it's got to be difficult these days. I mean, it was hard, I guess, for us to be like, I don't know what I want to do. But
for me, it was very easy. I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't think I would be doing it 34 years later.
Right. That's
you know point. What I mean? I've been doing this shit for 34 years.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at life going, fuck, like I'm burnt out. I'm ready for something new. But what do you do? What do you do now? You know?
Yeah. I mean, and I don't want to say stuck because I don't think you're stuck. The good part is this for what you do. Let's say you got another job, whatever it is you wanted to do. You could always cut hair on the side and make easy money. You know what I mean? Like cutting hair out of your house. That's a good standby. Like, hey, I want to go on vacation next year and just go off on people's hair for a couple of months and make a shit ton of money so you can go on vacation. So that would be cool. But yeah, I mean, I kind of think the same way. Like I could go back into the field and do alarm work, but I'm 50 something years old. Is my body going to keep up? That's what I'm starting to look for. And man, Social Security might not be around when we're older. So who knows if we're going to be able to retire.
It's going to be there. It'll be here.
Fuck, I hope so. Because if it's not, we are fucked.
Well,
we'll be working until we're dead.
No, though come on, this is a place you go where you have nothing and everybody will take care of you. Something's going to give.
I mean, yeah, I hope so. But I mean, it is a scary, scary thing. Mm-hmm. And no, even though like 401k, I have a small one, but not enough to survive on. At least not right now. Although it went up. My 401k jumped like $30,000 in like 2 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, because it's all done through the stock market. That sounds great until it takes a shit and then I have zero.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, we just live in a very odd life,
Things aren't
comparative.
as very grounded as they used to be. Like my dad went to work every day from whatever time he started till he was home at 3:30 in the afternoon. My mom went every day. They had jobs lasted. We were always comfortable in that the jobs and everything would still be there. Mm-hmm. I don't see that happening now.
No, I don't either. And I think that with the computer age ended a lot of things. I mean, my dad worked for Caltrans and he worked in heavy equipment and he worked. So labor jobs will always be around. I mean, a lot of them. Mm-hmm. But the computer age, like shit, we're being replaced and AI is going to make it worse.
AI is kind of a creepy thing.
Very.
But they can't cut hair, so.
No, that's what I mean. Like there's certain things. Although, you know what I saw the other day, and I know, look, no. I saw a tattoo machine that was computer operated. They just put in a file and started a tattoo. Now, it wasn't on a human yet. It was on like, the fake skin, but they're testing that market to think. And here's the thing with that. It's 100% correct. There's no messed up lines. There's no nothing. But the flip side of it, from the standpoint of how I look at something like that, that's not art. It's still not made by someone. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's something in that. I guess, you start looking at like furniture. A lot of that stuff is not made by hand, but it's put together by a person.
Yeah.
I love to see people who make furniture, who make, who are routing out stuff and actually still making things. If the planet ever goes through the cycle of not having power anymore,
people that use their hands will be at a hot commodity.
They will be kings.
Yeah.
They will be the best person in the tribe because they'll keep everyone alive.
You know what I noticed with my hands from doing basket weaving and being a hairdresser? Like I really shouldn't be using my hands as much as I do, but they're always going anyway, so I might not put them to work. I'm starting to have a lot of cramping. Mm-hmm. Like my hands will just start doing crazy shit, and the trike does not help that because it's not automatic. It's you have to
What about
squeeze the handles.
carpal tunnel?
No carpal
No,
tunnel.
that's
No.
good. That's a plus.
I decided when I was very young that shit was not going to happen to me. And, I think that a lot of things, if you put your mind to it, your body will answer to that. And I believe that was part of it. But I also learned to use my shoulders and my body to like blow dry hair and to move back. So I wasn't using my hand and my wrist. So I'm grateful that I had that sort of, not counseling, but that sort of teaching, to teach somebody. But it could have been really worse, because I know a lot of people have had to have carpal tunnel surgery. Yeah. And I drop things, not always, but on occasion I'll have a day and I'll be like, all right, get it together.
Yeah, my
cramping.
My best friend, he's had on both wrists because all he does is computer work.
Yeah.
So both sides. So I've had issues with my wrists. They hurt, but again, like lots of things hurt. I mean, wrestling for 20 years didn't help. So I'm sure that my 60s and 70s are not going to be the greatest thing, I think. But I will say that since I've lost a lot of weight, I do feel better. Like my knees are better. But some things you just can't, like we're aging. It's part of life. I think, eating right and taking care of yourself is definitely going to help us. I
also think having a happy mind is very helpful to staying young.
I totally agree. But, you look at and again, I'm not going to throw boomers under the bus, but boomers, they didn't have the education of taking care of yourself and exercising on the same as we do. I think we're going to be the first generation that ages that probably won't have tons of problems with like broken hips and that kind of thing, because we know that you can exercise and do better. We know you can eat better and do, better in life. I think the millennial generation will be way better off. The millennials and the Gen Zers, as long as they
don't ever leave their bedroom.
I don't know, man. I see there's a lot of millennials and Gen Zers at the gym. It's going to be a very select few. I think that, yes, there are people that are introverts and don't leave the house, and they're going to die off anyway. But that's like the weak link of Gen X as well, and boomers. There's all generations are going to have that issue. But I just think that anyone beyond or below us knows now there is no excuse. If you don't do it, that's on you. You know what I mean? Where we're kind of in that, the exercise kick didn't really happen until like the 90s or maybe the 80s with the like jazzercising.
Don't you remember that in the 70s? I remember all the jazzercising shit.
I remember it more in the early 80s. Matter of fact, there was a show in the morning. I remember while watching it, it was like just some girl in a white room, like doing exercises. I thought it was the craziest thing. But looking back on it now, now I know what it was about. It had nothing to do with exercise. It was watching a girl, hump the air. It's a fact. I mean, I don't know if you remember that.
That'll keep your mind healthy too.
Yeah, that's right. Keep your mind young.
Oh, geez.
I think hopefully they start, not poisoning us and not putting as much shit in our food and soy and all this other shit. Because, I saw something the other day that like the health of younger people is just going sideways.
Yeah.
Like they're way sicker. There's like way more. I mean, the sexual issues are huge in young people. So it's a scary thing and it will be far dead. I guess I would love to say I don't care, but it is odd. Things have just changed so much and so quickly. How rapidly, just think we're the first generation of the internet and having a computer in your house and having a computer in your hand. Mm-hmm. I mean, we literally have a computer in our hand.
We do. We didn't have this when we were in school.
No, shit. Teachers, I always see the joke. There's a meme all the time going, being a Gen Xer was hearing your teacher go, "You're never going to have a calculator in your pocket." Sure we do.
Yeah, we kind of do.
Yeah. We have the world in our pocket. You want to know something? Type it in. It's there somewhere. And if you don't have the answer, you can research it and find it. So, I mean, I'm hoping that helps the future generations, but I don't know. I hope that the world changes a little bit, and I hope we get out more. We had such a great time as children. We spent so much time outside, and maybe it's just because we live in the city here now, like younger people. Because I've heard from people who live outside of the state who live in a city, but like more of a country city, like live in the South. People are outside playing. Kids still go outside, and they're out riding bicycles and doing things that aren't the norm around us. Sure, they still play video games, but parents in some of these southern states, or at least the people I know who live in the South, they're still out riding bikes and throwing balls and going down to the creek and pulling frogs. Like, it's still a very different place. Where here, I rarely see kids running around.
No, it doesn't happen. The other day I was driving home and I was at the other block. I know pretty much the older people that have been on the block for 100 years. And we saw one of our neighbors outside with a kiddie pool with his granddaughter. And so I said, "Oh my God, that's so cute." So we went around the corner again to snap a picture of it, because you never see that. Snapped a picture. My cousin wasn't driving, so she was the one that did it. Gave me my phone, and then I posted it to this man's wife, because we're friends on social media. And I was like, it was so cute to see them interacting like a grandfather and a granddaughter. Like, how often do you see that? You just don't.
You don't.
And it's kind of got a lot of hits now. She put it on hers, and I had to do it. It was such a cute thing to see. And then his son is one of our friends, lives out of a state, like on the East Coast. And so I sent it to him, and he was like, "Oh, thank you so much. Like, I never see that day-to-day stuff with my dad. I'm not there." So I think it made everybody happy. It's just a shame that it made everybody so happy that because they're not seeing it more.
Yeah. There's some kids in my building that always are out playing baseball over by my pool, because there's like a big, huge piece of grass. And to me, that's super cool that these kids are at least outside doing something. Because you're right. And it's funny because my friend down the street has grandkids, and it must have been last summer. Last summer sent me a picture. She had a sprinkler in the front yard going, and the grandkids were running through it. And to me, I was just like, that's amazing. And she has a pool.
Yeah.
So they were still in the front yard running through the sprinklers because that's fun. That's like, so it's still happening. And I hope that these are the things that change for the better, and we keep these continuing. And I'm sure, like I said, outside of our little bubble of California, I'm sure it's still happening, because a lot of those Midwestern and Southern states are still, country people, or live in a small town and they just do fun stuff. So,
well, plus they don't live with a bunch of pedophiles and freaking weirdos running around.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so different here than it is in other places.
It was funny. Like in 89, when I went back to visit my mom, she lived in a town that had 1,500 people in it.
Yeah. I don't know what that's even like.
It was amazing, but it was odd. But I remember I met every girl in this town that was of my age. And I mean, all of them. There was like 12 or 13 girls that I hung out with. And every boy or person from the next town over did not like me.
Mm-hmm.
Because on Friday nights and Saturday nights, they drove down Main Street.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember sitting on a park bench or a bench in front of the pizza shop that you could also rent movies at, because it was 89. It was great. But I remember like these guys driving by, and for a second I thought this is the greatest life I've ever been, because I'm in a town that no one really knows me, and all they know of me is I'm a boy from California. And when I say I was tan, I was tan. I was brown. I looked like a surfer kid. And I remember having like a half cut shirt and a pair of OP shorts. Like I was a surfer. I looked like a surfer kid, and it was such a great time. But you look at a place like that where it was just innocent. It was such an innocent time. These people were there. The highlight of their weekend was driving their cars down Main Street and then parking and then hanging out. It was such a cool thing. And again,
that is so cool.
But I'm sure that still happens in these small towns, because there's towns that have a lot of people, a lot of towns that have less than 2,000 people in them. And then you have to drive to the big town. This town my mom lived in didn't have a light. It had stop signs to get in.
No street light?
No street, no light, no red light, green light. The whole town. The town she grew up in is called Ricketts, Iowa, like after the disease. I want to say right now, I'm going to look it up just for shits, but I want to say that the population of Ricketts is like 100 people.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That is insane. Because we don't know that. We come from a population that's just like, I don't even know what the number is, nor could I even relate to the number. There's that many people that live here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't. As of 2020, Ricketts, Iowa, 2020 had 109 people.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, right now, I'm sorry, it's down. It's 1%. It's 0.9% down growth. There's 102 people. So they're getting close to under 100 people.
That's so crazy
in this town. Yeah, there used to be a bowling alley and a bank and all these things. As far as I know, the only thing that's really open there is the general store and the post office. So you have to drive out of town to get anything.
Wow.
It's wild. Imagine? It's such that they actually made shirts, and I have one somewhere. And it was a star was on Ricketts, Iowa, and it had lines to other bigger cities, and it just said the middle of nowhere. And it was the middle of nowhere. But you go to places like that and you just can't comprehend. You just can't comprehend it. It's an interesting.
It's a different way of life completely.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild. I'm looking up pictures on the internet. All the buildings are gone. Like they're gone. There's nothing there anymore. That's so wild. It's too bad. But yeah, not that this was an interesting episode, but I just thought we'd talk shop and kind of what's going on.
We were both feeling kind of low and just needed to talk. So
yeah, and
here we are.
And I think that the one thing that you should gain from this is talk to your friends.
Oh yeah, that's what you got them for.
And life is very quick, and make sure that your friendships or relationships that you might have let go, you kind of fix, because you don't want to be
That's right.
I don't want to lose anybody and not be in their life. So
I don't want to have them leave and me not know how much I love them.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm hoping that the people that I haven't talked to know that I give a shit about them. I just, for whatever reason.
If they know you, they know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right. Any last words?
No, I think I just said it.
Awesome. Yeah. This, you can check us out on all the platforms and share the show, because lots of people have been listening, all over the world. I sent
a lot of countries.
I sent Tina like China, Turkey, like lots of different new countries. And again, there's somebody in Ireland that's watching or listening every week, and it's super awesome.
That is cool.
And,
but yeah, when you sent me that, China, Germany, Australia, France, England, Spain, the Netherlands.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
It's so crazy.
Yeah, it's so crazy. So thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Yes,
That's
thank
awesome.
you.
And you can check us out on the social medias. I'm posting more, and share the show. Keep sending to other people. And yeah, it's an opinion show. Don't get it twisted. Keep coming back every Wednesday. I'm Rob. That's Tina. We'll talk to you in a week. Bye.
See ya.